To some developing news now. In a surprise move, Channel 9 has threatened to walk away from the NRL as a war of words erupts over the league's plans to relaunch the season as early as next month. In a statement, a Nine spokesperson says, "At Nine, we had hoped to work with the NRL on a solution to the issues facing rugby league in 2020, brought on so starkly by COVID-19. But this health crisis in our community has highlighted the mismanagement of the code over many years." Joining me now to talk us through this dispute is Business of Sports presenter Tim Gilbert. Tim, as always, appreciate your time and your insights on this sport that you've covered for a long, long time. But Channel 9 really dropping a rugby league bombshell this afternoon.
Absolutely, Kieran, and a good afternoon to you. And it was almost like this brassy new ball was being released yesterday afternoon in the rugby league world, because there was this talk, OK, here we are, we're a chance of getting going on May 21, and no one thought that the game could even get going by June. Now, this has just gone kaboom. This release from Channel 9, as you just read out, they say that the NRL squandered money. They're unhappy with this idea of getting going in May and running a 15-round competition. They feel like they haven't been consulted on it, and they're calling for heads to roll at an executive level. So they're clearly unhappy with Todd Greenberg, but this really puts the game in the most perilous position, if it wasn't already. It's a game that is financially strapped not only at NRL level but at club level. They desperately want to get this game back and being played, so those that are invested, the stakeholders in the game, not just the players but everyone involved, has some chance of keeping their jobs into the future.
And what do you make of the timing of the statement, given we have heard the aspiration by the NRL to get back on the paddock within the next month or two?
Yeah, well, the cynics will say, Channel 9, why didn't you say this a few years ago? Like, you've been around this game, broadcasting this game since the 90s in this version. If you didn't like what was happening, you've got a fair financial stake in the game. Why wouldn't you have said it? Why wouldn't you have broadcast your feelings a little earlier? Well, that's all academic now, because they haven't, but they have now, and they're coming hard at the NRL. The only difference here is that the rugby league, and this is not trying to be disparaging to those that ran it in the past few years, but they have a new chair. They have a new boss. That's not Todd Greenberg. This is Peter V'landys. And Peter V'landys is a tiger. He is an absolute tiger when it comes to business. The Racing New South Wales jurisdiction is not only one of the best in Australia, if not the best, it's one of the best in the world, and he has grown that product from on its knees to where it is today, and he is not going to lie down. I'd like to be a fly on the wall in some of these discussions going forward, because there could be every chance that they will broker a deal saying, OK, if that's that, Channel 9, thanks for your company, let's go across over here and find another broadcaster. Because although Nine point out it's less of a game without a crowd, it's still this great television sport. It's easy to broadcast, the field is that shape and size, it goes for 80 minutes, it's dynamic, so someone's going to want it.
Yeah, that's one individual you wouldn't underestimate is Peter V'landys, that's for sure. What about Todd Greenberg, though? Can he survive this as CEO? Well,
if Channel 9 stays on and they can somehow get to the table and work out a deal, I would say no. I would say it's almost impossible now, because everything that they've thrown at the NRL is pretty much targeted at Todd Greenberg, because he's been in charge for the last few years. But in saying that, if they do come to the table, as I mentioned, and decide, well, that's it for us, and a deal is brokered that they go to another commercial network, well, then Todd Greenberg probably can stay. I think his role is almost getting to that point of being untenable, because they need someone different. Todd is a great PR man. He speaks beautifully, and he's done very well at the Bulldogs prior to the NRL. But what they're probably looking for now is someone who's very fiscally minded, and for this game to go forward in a positive way, because it's going to look very different when it comes out the other side. They may be looking for someone else. So if Nine stays, I'd say Greenberg dead set gone. If it goes to someone else, he's probably not going to be there, but he's a chance.
Timmy, as always, appreciate your insights on that and the rest of the developments in a controversial day for one of the great games in this country. Thanks, Tim.
Absolutely. Cheers, Kieran.